Limerick vs Waterford, a masterclass in hurling dominance. In a thrilling encounter at Walsh Park, Limerick showcased their trademark calm and authority, overcoming Waterford with a final score of 0-28 to 0-22 in the Munster SHC. While some might argue that Limerick isn't quite the powerhouse they once were, their performance on this day suggested otherwise. They navigated a potentially tricky challenge with a blend of aggression and tactical brilliance that has overwhelmed many teams in the past. The final scoreline, while close, didn't quite reflect the control Limerick had throughout the match. Waterford came out fighting, displaying a relentless spirit, but they simply couldn't match Limerick's raw power and fluid ball movement. The Limerick defense, boasting an average age of around 30, stifled Waterford's attack effectively. Despite a couple of hopeful attempts in the second half, Waterford never truly threatened to score the goals they desperately needed to stay in contention. From the outset, Waterford struggled to take the lead, and even when they narrowed the gap to just 2 points early in the second half, Limerick quickly responded with 4 unanswered points, quelling any hopes of a comeback. Limerick's performance was notably improved from their previous outing against Tipperary, especially in the first half against the Wind. However, there were still areas for improvement before their upcoming clash with Cork at the Gaelic grounds. Key players like Will O'Donoghue and David Reedy were largely absent from the action, and some of Limerick's shooting in the second half left much to be desired. They fell short of their usual target of 30 points and didn't force a save from Waterford's goalkeeper, Billy Nolan, but they managed to avoid any major pitfalls. In the second half, Waterford faced a dilemma. To gain more possession in the middle third, they had to commit more players there, which left them vulnerable near their own goal. This tactical shift meant that when the ball was sent into their forwards, they were often outnumbered by Limerick's defenders. With Limerick's defensive prowess, it became clear that if they didn't concede a goal, victory was all but assured. Limerick asserted their dominance right from the start, racing to a 5-point lead within the first 11 minutes. Any lingering doubts from their previous match were quickly dispelled as they moved the ball with impressive simplicity and coherence. In this attacking rhythm, they consistently found players in space, making it difficult for Waterford to mount a serious challenge. Kyle Hayes was a standout performer, anchoring the defense and launching numerous attacks, while Adam English wreaked havoc in midfield. Cian Lynch orchestrated play with finesse, and by halftime, Limerick had 7 different scorers contributing from play. Waterford, opting for long puckouts in the first half, struggled to gain any momentum as Limerick dominated the aerial battles. Although they managed to string together 3 points in a row midway through the half, it did little to shift the tide in their favor. Key forwards Stephen Bennett and Dessie Hutchinson found it tough to make an impact, and Patrick Curran, who had shown in the previous match against Clare, was substituted after just 26 minutes without leaving a mark. Young Patrick Fitzgerald did manage to score a brilliant point, and Kevin Mahoney added another, but Bennett's missed frees were costly at a time when every point mattered. Limerick made a tactical substitution, replacing Dermot Burns after he received an early booking, but it hardly affected their momentum. They went into halftime leading 0-15 to 0-10, and after weathering an early Waterford storm in the second half, they maintained a 5-point cushion after 50 minutes. Waterford's best chance for a goal came right after halftime when Stephen Bennett attempted a clever ground pass to his brother Shane, who was breaking into space. Unfortunately, a slight misstep allowed Limerick's defenders to close in, resulting in a blocked shot. Another fleeting opportunity for Bennett later in the half came too late, as Waterford found themselves 6 points down and the clock ticking away. Meanwhile, Limerick continued to score with ease, further extending their lead. Shane O'Brien was particularly effective, scoring 4 points effortlessly, while Aaron Gillane added a couple of stunning scores. Limerick's substitutes also made their mark, contributing to the scoreboard, leaving Waterford with too much to handle. In summary, Limerick's blend of experience, skill, and tactical acumen proved too much for Waterford, who fought valiantly but ultimately fell short. As the teams look ahead, Limerick will aim to build on this performance, while Waterford will need to regroup and reassess their strategy for future matches.